It's Jeffery Petrone. I'm here to do a review of the 1996 film I Shot Andy Warhol by Mary Herron. Now, the film stars Lily Tyler as Valerie Solanas, the woman who attempted to kill Andy Warhol, as well as Jared Harris, who plays Andy Warhol, amongst a horde of other actresses, including Martha Plimpton and Michael Imperioli. Now, what the film does well, just to start off, is it centers around a very distinct time in the 1960s in New York City, and it captures that time very well. It's not the beats, and it's not quite the psychedelic period. It's a mix of both, but in a way, it's the rejected afterbirth of those two. You have a somewhat representation of the White Panther Party. You have the feeling that, this was the 60s, but things are turning south. And the film does a great job of illustrating that. The film does a great job of putting you in the headspace of what the Andy Warhol entourage was like, even at its most boring. And the film does a great job of getting you into the head of Valerie Solanas in the lead up to the assassination attempt. Now, what the film does bad is it's not just the structure of the film is somewhat upsetting to me. And I can't quite put it into words, but it all somewhat stems from a singular issue I have with the film. Technically, the film is not based, you can't really say this film was based on, you can say it was based on true events, and you can say it was inspired by da-da-da-da, but you can't really, say it was based on this day at this time, this thing happened, and then expect, well, where did you get the other events, where did they come from? And where a lot of this film stems from, theoretically, and what the film is technically based on, is a book that compiles the diary and notebook writings of an individual known as Candy Darling. Candy Darling was a transvestite who lived in New York City at the time of these events. She died in 1973 after a failed hormone treatment, I believe. And she was a very crucial figure in the Warhol scene, but she was also the figure that introduced Solanas to Warhol. And the film, if you're going that route, should be about her as much as it is about Warhol, and as much as it is about Solanas, but it just isn't. And there's a scene towards the end of the film when Solanas just beats Candy Darling for being just like, you're not even a woman, and just starts hitting her, and it's just this uncomfortable thing, and there's a lot of uncomfortable elements to the film that both make the film an interesting watch, but also feels like we're dancing on the graves of people. It feels like we're profiting from these horrible events in ways that we really shouldn't. But to really just finish this review out, I think the music in this film is the saving grace. If you have the availability to not watch it on YouTube, but you have the chance to find a copy of this, although for some reason they tend to be a little more expensive than the average random obscure movie from the 90s, get it. And if you have the chance, listen to the soundtrack by a variety of artists, including R.E.M., Wilco, and an original score by John Cale that might just be the greatest thing ever. Overall, it's the most painful 7 out of 10 you could ever give a movie. But that's about it. My name is Jeffery Petrone, and that's it.